Okay, let's dive in. Imagine solar panels that don't just tolerate rain, but actually work with it.
Right. It sounds a bit strange at first.
Exactly. For our deep dive today, we're looking at the source material called rain-powered solar in New York, Black Knight Power.
And the focus is really on how New York State is, well, pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, trying to make solar work efficiently, even with, what, 165 rainy days a year. That's a lot.
It is. So the mission here is to figure out how they're turning those clouds and rain into actual energy. Some surprising stuff in here.
Definitely. So the basic problem, the one everyone knows, is that the solar panel efficiency just tanks in heavy rain.
Right. Yeah, it plummets down to maybe 10, 25% sometimes. It's a huge issue for places like New York.
But this is where it gets interesting. They're using hybrid systems with something called TENS.
Tendens, yeah. Triboelectric nanogenerators. That's the core innovation here.
Okay, 10 So break that down. How do they actually, help? What's the performance game?
Well, basically, they capture energy from friction. Specifically, the friction of raindrops hitting the panel surface.
It's the impact of the rain itself.
Exactly. And it generates usable power. Maybe not a huge amount per drop, but across a whole panel during a downpour, it adds up. We're talking potentially enough to power small devices, maybe 40.8 milliwatts per square meter.
So the end result for these hybrid panels.
The result is they can maintain, get this, about 65% of their clear sky output, even on really overcast rainy days. That's a massive improvement.
Wow. Okay. 65%,
And there's another little kicker. The rainwater actually cools the panels down.
which is good.
That's good for the PV cells, the photovoltaic part. Cooling can boost their efficiency slightly, maybe 0.3 to 0.5% per degree Celsius drop, so it helps offset some of the loss from the lack of sun.
Okay, so let's talk real-world examples. The source mentions the Delta building in Brooklyn.
Yes, that's a great case study. It's the city's first net positive solar building.
Net positive meaning it makes more energy than it uses.
Precisely. About 12 megawatt hours a year, which they calculate is 25% above its own needs. And the rain power part. That contributes maybe 8 to 12% of its energy generation during wet weather.
So it's proving the concept in a dense urban setting. What about larger scale?
Well, then you look upstate, Jefferson County, the Riverside Solar Farm.
Yeah.
Much bigger scale, obviously.
If they're using similar ideas.
They are. They're maintaining around 72% productivity on rainy days. They use special nano coatings on the panels.
What do the coatings do?
They help water, and importantly snow, slide off faster. Plus, the racking system is designed to channel water for cleaning. It actually reduced losses from dirt and grime by about 19%.
Smart. And this isn't just big buildings or farms, right? There's community solar, too.
Definitely. NYSERDA's Solar for All program is key here. The source highlights the North Main Array in Wyoming County, 7.2 megawatts.
And it uses these 10NG enhanced panels.
It does. Powers about 850 homes. During rain, the energy split is roughly 65% from the sun, 35% from the rain via 10Gs.
And that translates to actual savings for people.
Yeah, about 15 to 20% off their bills,
Yeah.
which is especially crucial for the low-income participants, particularly during, say, winter storms when energy use spikes.
So the big question then is, why New York? What's driving this push?
It really boils down to supportive policy and some smart economics. The NY Sun program is a big one.
How so?
Their 2024 guidelines set aside $200 million specifically for weather-resilient solar projects. And they offer direct bonuses, like an extra 35 cents per watt for integrating TAN-CANs.
Oh, wow. That's a direct incentive.
And another 10 cents per watt for those hydrophobic coatings we mentioned. It's clearly working. These hybrid systems saw a 47% jump in installations year over year.
Okay, so policy support is strong. What about the economics for the system owners?
That's where net metering comes in, especially frameworks like PSEG Long Island's. It helps these rain-boosted systems pay for themselves faster.
How much faster?
About 22% faster. So payback drops from maybe 8.7 years down to 6.8 years. That's significant.
And there was something about time of use rates.
Yes, this is quite clever. They've adapted time of use rates to actually give extra credit for the Teng energy produced during peak rainfall hours, often evenings, like 7 to 10 p.m.
Why is that timing important?
Because that's often when grid demand is high. But traditional solar output is zero because the sun's down. So getting energy from rain then is extra valuable. They credit it at 1.25 times the standard rate.
Which boosts the return on investment.
By about 9 to 14%, yeah. Makes the whole thing more financially attractive.
Okay, it sounds incredibly promising, but let's be realistic. Are there still challenges, limitations?
Oh, absolutely. We need to be clear. Right now, TENS alone only contribute a small fraction of a panel's total potential power. From rain, maybe 0.4 to 2.1% of its rated capacity. It helps, but it's not replacing solar yet.
And durability, especially in a place with harsh winters like New York.
That's a major hurdle. The polymer materials used in current pings can degrade, maybe 3 times faster than the standard PV glass, especially with all the freezing and thawing cycles.
So work still needs to be done there. What's on the horizon then? Future innovations.
There's some really exciting stuff.
Hmm.
SUNY Polytechnic is working with graphene composites.
Graphene, okay. How does that help?
These new layers apparently interact better with ions in rainwater and show way less degradation, like 92% less, after hundreds of rain cycles compared to current TENS. That could be huge for longevity.
A big step forward if it pans out. Anything else?
Yeah, over at Cornell Tech, they're experimenting with what they call a trifecta system. Hybrid wind-rain solar.
All three together.
Right. In Buffalo, they're integrating vertically mounted solar panels, a tang mesh that activates with rain, and piezoelectric panels that flutter and generate power from wind.
Wow. And the performance.
Early results show a massive improvement in capacity factor, 83% better. It essentially generated more than double the energy of a standard solar panel during winter storms.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the main takeaway here?
I think it's clear that New York has really become this crucial testing ground for making solar work in all kinds of weather, not just sunshine.
Yeah, this deep dive definitely shows how you combine policy like the NY Sun incentives with the science TENS, graphene, and smart economics like those time of use rates.
Exactly. And it creates a model that, other places with similar climates, humid and temperate regions, could potentially replicate.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, as we look at what New York is achieving?
It does. It raises a big question for all of us, really. How might these kinds of integrated energy solutions, combining different renewables, change not just our power grids?
But maybe even how we think about building sustainably, living sustainably in any climate, pushing us closer to that, 100% renewable vision.
That's the question to ponder. How far can this take us?